Welcome back, Super Friends. Today we are going to be reviewing Units 11 and Unit 12. So that means volume and conversion review so that we can be better for our unit tests. So you'll need your math notebook or folder, pencil to write with, and don't forget that super brain of yours. Stay tuned for the video. All right, Super Friends, we are going to be doing our second part for our review for Unit 11 and Unit 12. Of course, we're using our same reference sheet that we've been using this whole time. Let's go down to question 5. Remember, you are to write every question and solve it with me. The play started at 4:15 p.m. The play ended at 5:40 p.m. There was a 1/4 hour intermission break so that the audience could use the restroom. How many minutes was the actual playtime? So what that means is that we are going to figure out how many minutes we're dealing with in total. And that's when I jump from wherever we started to the next hour and then to where we need to finish. And then we have to turn that break, that 1/4 hour break, into minutes so that we can minus that to get our total. So let's first start by converting that 1/4 hour into minutes. See how many minutes that is. What do I know about hours and minutes? I know that 1 hour equals 60 minutes. And I know that I'm going from big to small, so that means I multiply. I'll multiply my 1/4 hour times 60 over 1 minutes. I know 1 times 60 is 60. 4 times 1 is 4. So now I have to change that 60 divided by 4 into minutes. How many minutes is that? So let's put up a little house over here. 60 go inside, 4 goes outside. So I have 4 goes into 6 one time. I subtract the 4 out. I get 2. I bring down the 0. That gives me 20. How many times does 4 go into 20? That's 5 times. Subtract out the 20 that it equals, and that's 0. So how many minutes is that? 15 minutes. So that's 15 minutes. So that's what I'm subtracting. Now we're going to do our jumping from where we started to where we ended, add up the total number of minutes that we get, and then subtract away the break. So that was a 15-minute break. Okay, now we're going to start jumping. So we started at 4:15 p.m. How many minutes does it take me in order for me to get to 5 p.m.? Because that's the next hour. I know that there's 60 minutes in an hour, so I'm trying to see if I'm needing 60 minutes to make the next hour, how many minutes is that? So what I do is I just count up from the 15. Well, listen, let's look at it this way. If we did 60 minutes divided by 4 and it gave us 15, that means that we did 15 4 times. So if I'm doing 15 right here, how many more 15s before I get to 5 o'clock? That's just 3 more 15s. 3 times 15, what does that equal? 3 times 5 is 15, regroup. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4, so 45 minutes. 45 minutes. If we did not know that, guys, we could have just subtracted. We could have said 60 minus 15, borrow, regroup, that's 5, that's 4. And it would have given us 45 minutes. So there we know that we added 45 minutes to get to 5 o'clock. And then what's our end time? Our end time is 5:40. So how many minutes should I add to 5 o'clock in order for it to be 5:40? Obviously, I add 40 minutes. Okay, so we have that. Let's go ahead and get our total adding. So 45 plus 40 minutes. That gives us what? Gives us 85 minutes. But are we done there? No, because we have to minus out the break, that 15-minute break. All right, now this gives us what we're going to find. So that's 0 and that's 7. So 70 minutes is how long that play was. 70 minutes. All right, let's go on to the next example. All right, Julia is building a shelf. Looking at our picture, I was dealing with volume again of a rectangular prism, so we have to cut the picture so that we can get our volume. So remember, we do volume 1 plus volume 2. And that's how we get our answer. All right, so I'm going to cut it right here. This is going to be volume 1 at the bottom. This is volume 2 up top. So let's look at volume 1. What's the length from left to right for volume 1? Looks like 7. Okay, what's the width for volume 1 from front to back? That looks like 7 also. What's the height for volume 1? The height for volume 1 is going to start here and end here. I don't see a number there. I do see 7 for the full thing, and then I see 4 over here. So what do I do with those two numbers now? I have to subtract them. So it's going to be 7 minus 4 for the height for volume 1. So 7 minus 4 equals 3. So now that's the volume dimensions for volume 1. Let's look at volume 2. From left to right, I see 3 inches. My width from front to back looks like the same width from here, looks like the same width from here. If you only see one width, meaning that there's only one front to back number, that means it's the same for both volumes. So that's the same, it's 7. And then lastly, what's our height that we noticed? It was the 4 that was right here. So 4. All right, now let's solve this out. I know 7 times 7 is 49, and then times 3. And then over here, I know 3 times 7 is 21 times 4. So we're going to get the area model to both of those and then solve them. So for V1, my area model is going to be 40 plus 9 times 3. That gives me 120 here plus 27. 120 plus 27, that's a 7, equals 741. So this is 141 or 147. And then let's do volume 2. That one's going to be 20 plus 1 times 4. So that gives me 80 plus 4. That's 84. Okie dokie, almost done. Let's add these all together. 7 plus 4 is 11. Regroup. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 8 is 13. Regroup. 1 plus 1 is 2. So the total answer is 231. But don't forget to put your measurements. We were doing inches, so it's inches cubed. There you go. So 231 inches cubed. That's the volume. That's how much cement is needed to make up the shelf above. We're filling in the cement for the shelf. That's how much we need. All right, let's go on to the next example. All right. What is the volume of the cube shown below? So if we're just getting the volume, that means what's the length times the width times the height. And if it's a cube, remember, the cube means it has the same sides. Cube equals same sides. So whatever we see here, we're going to see here. We're going to see here. So if we see 3 there, it's going to be 3 here. If we see 3 for the other two, it's going to be 3 over here. So that's what's going to happen. So now what do? We do 3 times 3 times 3. I know 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So it's going to be 27 centimeters cubed. That is our volume for this cube. Alrighty, let's go to our last example. Okay, so our last example says Whoops. Last example says, Leo and Max joined a running program for 7 days. Leo ran 3 miles every day, and Max ran 3 1/4 miles every day. How much farther in yards did Max run by the end of 7 days? All right, so this is similar to what we did before, where it took a lot of steps, where we had to turn the miles into yards, then we had to subtract it, and then we had to see how many more yards it is. I want us to do something really, really simple. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to do we're going to do Max minus Leo. And then whatever that answer is, we're going to multiply that by the 7 days. And that's just one part. Then we're converted into yards. So Max was 3 1/4. Leo was 3. And what do we know about that? What's the only difference here? I see a whole number and a fraction, and I just see a whole number. If I'm doing my whole numbers minus my whole numbers, they cross out because 3 minus 3 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. What's left over is going to be 1/4 minus 0, which means what? 1/4. So the answer is 1/4 here. So this is just 1/4. So now that's doing 1/4 times 7. What does that equal? I would have to do what? 7 times 1 on top, 4 times 1 on the bottom. That's going to be 7/4. Now this is how many miles per day, or for the week that we're working with now. This is the like, if it just said how many more miles, then we'd be done. But since we have to turn it into yards, now we're not done. So let's turn these miles into yards. What do I know about miles and yards? I know that 1 mile equals 1,760 yards. And I know I'm going from big to small, so that means I'm multiplying. So I take my 7/4 miles and I multiply them by the 1,760 yards. And that answer gives me my total yards that I'm going to put. So this is yards. And that would be our answer that goes up there. All right, obviously I'm going to need to do a little area model for this because I have to do 1760 times 7. All right, so I have 1,000 plus 700 plus 60 times 7. 7 times 1,000 is 7,000. 7 times 7 is 49. Bring down 2 zeros. 7 times 6 is 42. Bring down 1 zero. All right. Add these all together. 7,000, 4,900, 420. What do I get? Regroup. That is 12. So now I'm working with 12,320. But are we done? No, because we still have to divide by the 4. Let's get a house going because we have to simplify. So right now this is telling us 12,320 on top over 4. That's what that's saying. So now we have to simplify it to get the final answer in yards. Okay. What do I know about how many times 4 goes into 12? That's 3 times. Subtract it out. I get 12. 0. Bring down the next number, which is a 3. How many times does 4 go into 3? 0 times. 0 times 4 is 0. Subtract it out. I get 3. Bring down the next number, which is 2. How many times does 4 go into 32? 8 times. 8 times 4 is 32. Subtract out 32. I get 0. Bring down the next number. How many times does 4 go into 0? 0 times. 0 times 4 is 0. Subtract it out. I get 0. Is there any other numbers to bring down? No. So obviously this is our final answer of yards. That's how many yards it is. Let's go back up. How many yards is that? 3,080 yards. That's how many more yards that Max ran than Leo. So all of these steps got us there. Let me bubble or write this in, and then I'll zoom out a little bit to make it easier to see. All right. Use these notes for your questions today.